Hey guys, this is a video on pressing mechanics with the barbell. Barbell pressing mechanics. I apologize for my hair. We're gonna blame it on COVID. Hopefully when anybody watches this video years from now, if somebody does, they're like, oh yeah, that was happening at that point. No barber shops. Anyhow, so let's talk about pressing mechanics with the barbell. And so we have the basic archetype, which is the strict press, right? And so for the strict press, I'm starting in this position, pressing up and finishing here. So let's start first with the two main positions. First is this front rack position. So what I will see is that ideally my flexibility will allow me to have the bar on my shoulder. That sometimes doesn't happen, so you'll see that people will have it here. However, I want it there. I am not very high on my front rack position, right? So I'm gonna have my forearms not directly under the bar. If I have them directly under the bar, as soon as I start pressing, I'm gonna have to like go around or finish here, which is, as you see, I'm not opening the shoulder joint that much, right? And so I know some people believe that that is an advantageous position, but it is only if you lean a little bit back and use your chest. And so anyhow, so I want to be in a semi-front rack position, which means that I'm here, my elbows are slightly in front of the bar, and ideally the bar is resting on my shoulder. If it's not, that's fine. Good. Second thing is the hand position. So for many people, the strict press is better with a neutral grip, just because the rationale, the logic there is that the bar is gonna be directly in line with the bone, so there will be a better transfer of force. That is actually very debatable. Depends on the mechanics of your joint. If you have a very tight joint and you can have the wrist a little bit more extended, there's no loss in force transfer. So you can play with it. There's a little bit room. What we know is like an extreme extension is yeah, definitely weak, because you'll see that then the joint is too open and it's not tight, and there's loss of force. But you don't have to be completely neutral. You can be a little bit here, as long as your joint is healthy and tight, you should be fine. So that's the initial position. Now let's talk about the finishing position. So to find the finishing position on a strict press, and this is because I'm thinking about the purpose of the press for me, is I'm gonna finish with the bar straight up if I start from my neck. So in order to find that end position, I'm gonna finish with the bar. If I press straight up, I wanna finish here. And I'll tell you why we wanna do that, because when I finish here and my rib cage is down and neutral, my pelvis is down and neutral, so I'm not here, I am here, right? And I'm not here, right? If all my body is stacked, I am utilizing the best mechanics for my spine. The relationship between my shoulder joint, my spine and my pelvis is optimal. And so not everybody can achieve that position. That's something that you have to earn. Working towards that position with the strict press is one of the values of the strict press. So it's not just the pressing capacity of the arm and shoulder joint and shoulder muscles, it's also the ability to stabilize loads overhead with a good postural alignment. Because if you're able to do that here in the gym, you're gonna be able to do that in life, right? And so it's not just about like being able to lift more weight or like the correct form. It's just what is the value that is added to your life, right? And so that is the value of the strict press. And so finding that good overhead position is fundamental. So now that you have where it goes, so and some of you are not gonna have the flexibility to actually press behind the neck, you hit your head, it's gonna be painful on the shoulder, like the shoulder is gonna swing, like that just is gonna give you a lot of information that you have flexibility issues all over the upper back if you cannot do a behind the neck press straight up, right? And so just that is a value of itself. But once you have found that position overhead, right, like here, you'll see that I am not here, it's right there, right? Now we can talk about how I want the shoulder. So there's a couple of things there. So the first thing is I don't want, we don't want excessive internal rotation on the shoulder, right? Because as you can see there, if it's excessive, the bone is out and it's a weak position. We also don't need excessive external rotation, right? Like we need just the shoulder joint to be stable and to be tight. So for some people that can vary. What will happen is that most people have to compensate lack of mobility by going like this. That's something that we definitely don't want, right? And so the way to look for that is rotate your shoulder joint a little bit by trying to make sure that the elbow is pointing towards the ground. And that's a good rule of thumb, and you should be able to do that very easily, right? And so if I am able to do that, that's a good position. So let me show you. I'm gonna bring that barbell behind me, and I'm here. If I'm thinking about that, you'll see that my elbows are there, and if I'm thinking about that rotation, my shoulder is very tight. As soon as I go here, out, I feel it on my shoulders. It's not good. So here, right there. Now, the discussion about active or non-active shoulders, active or packed. Packed used to be a term that you call when you have the shoulder blades down and back, and active is what the CrossFit world has asked us to do when you lift not just the shoulders but all your musculature up. In my opinion, there's no need for that discussion, in the sense that both are trying to keep the shoulder, both have the same principle, try to keep the shoulder very, very stable by keeping it in the socket, right? Like so, avoiding this. And if you move all your musculature up, like the active shoulders paradigm tells you to do, you're moving the whole joint up. That you could argue that creates more stability overhead, but you could argue also that keeping it down could create more stability overhead. So I will go by what the athlete feels. At the end, what you want is stability and safety of the shoulder joint, and you can achieve that with different people in different ways, right? As long as you know your principles, you'll be fine. So those are the end range positions. Now let's talk about the transfer between position A and position B. So the transfer between position A and position B, two things you need to consider. So I'm starting here, and all I'm going to think is I don't want the elbows to come out or the chest to flare up, right? Like I just want to keep my good postural mechanics. So I'm here, I'm going to have to draw my hair a little bit behind me so the bar can go, and the same is going to happen as I come down, right? I'm not trying to, I don't go like this because then I will extend my back. Just push my neck backwards. There's going to be a little bit of extension, that's fine. Press up, and then as I come down, what you'll see, I went around my head a little bit in that rep. I want to come down so that my elbows keep pointing forward, right? So what you will see that will happen is that the tendency is going to be to try to do this, right? So what you'll see is I'm arching my back, throwing the elbows out, rest, and then going through what people call the window. And that is all kinds of compensations. Right, so as soon as I lean back, I want to use the chest. You're too heavy. You're too heavy. If you have to lean back to use the chest, you're doing a bench press. Leave that for the bench press. Good. If I have to flare out there, I have to use. I'm not using the shoulder joint that much anymore. Right, like I have to go like that. I'm gonna be using triceps more and so on. And then the tendency, if I go elbows out, it doesn't necessarily happen, but it's gonna be so much easier to internally rotate the shoulder excessively and create a little bit of impingement there. Well, not impingement, but you know, like pain. And so yeah, keep those elbows in, press straight up, press straight down, and all you need to do is to be able to move your neck this way, which is how back in the day you started learning the press. You know, like we don't do that anymore because we need results fast. Now I'm talking like an old man. Anyhow, so that is it, right? Like good position, good mechanics here at the beginning. How far the elbow has to be in front of you, that's something that I didn't mention on the front rack. So as far as you can, while you can have full control of the bar, right? Like as far forward as you can, while you can have full grip on that bar, right? And while you feel like you can press straight up. As soon as if you're too here and you have to like do more of this movement, then you're too far in. And if you're here and the bar has to go around, you're too low. You're too low. So you wanna be like around there. For most people, that is as far as they can. The rational there, the heuristic there is as far as they can, while they can have a semi-strict, semi-neutral grip, tight, full grip on that bar, not fingers, full grip on that full grip on that bar. That is it. Yeah, now I'm there. I keep my elbow as is pointing forward. You'll see that I'm not letting it flare out and come here. I'm just there, and especially as I come down, I'm trying to repeat that movement, right? Like, never forget that bringing the bar down is half of the exercise. Like, it's not just the positive, and actually bringing the bar down is where most strength is built. And so don't forget that area. Good. In terms of other mechanics for the push press and the push jerk, the main thing is that the press is the same. The pressing movement is the same, right? Like, what I have to be careful is in the push press and in the jerk, the dip has to be vertical, right? Like, so that I don't lose what we were talking about. The value of the press is the postural content, right? So the spine, pelvis, shoulder alignment, I shouldn't lose that in the dip because I still want transfer. Once I explode, I am gonna just track that same strict press bar path, right? Like, nothing changes. On the jerk though, depending if you're doing a speed jerk or a power jerk, there might be a little bit more of a squatting movement, right? So the bar is gonna be in the same position, but you're gonna be leaning forward a little bit, right? So the bar still ends here, but I'm leaning forward a little bit, and that's gonna change the relationship. And that is when it becomes really important, because if you think about it, as soon as I'm here, if I don't have the good mobility, you'll see what my shoulder will do, just to compensate, right? And so I have to be able to keep the position while leaning forward, right? Like, shoulder stays in, instead of going here, I wanna go here, right? So the shoulder stays in place, and I don't do this, right? And so in the jerk, that shoulder rotation is gonna be way more important. You have to pay way more attention, just because the possibilities of that going wrong are greater, just because it's a ballistic movement in which you're like, most people that is jerking, they close their eyes here, they don't know where the bar is, and they just like hope, pray for the best, right? And so that is it on pressing mechanics. I hope this video helps you, and let me know if you have any questions, and